The late afternoon sun hung low over the Harrowby estate, its light stretched thin through tall windows draped in pale blue silk. Dust motes drifted lazily in the air, rising and falling like tired fireflies. In the quiet bedroom at the far end of the hall, a little girl lay curled beneath a heavy quilt, her breaths shallow, her skin carrying the faint pallor of someone who had forgotten what healthy days felt like. Clara Harrowby was only 8, yet there was a solemn tiredness in her eyes that didn't belong to childhood. Her golden hair spilled across the pillow in soft waves, but her cheeks were sunken with exhaustion, and she clung to her stuffed lamb as if it were the last anchor to a world she was barely part of anymore. Doctors came and went. Specialists whispered. Her father paced the halls. Her mother's perfume lingered behind her more often than her presence did. Everyone called Clara fragile, as though the word might explain the way she trembled at night or why she woke with tears she couldn't identify. Then came the nanny. Elise arrived, quietly, gentle hands, steady eyes, and a warmth that felt like a small hearth lit in a long-abandoned room. She didn't speak loudly or rush. She moved as though every motion carried intention. Clara's gaze softened the first time Elise brushed her hair, and that softening was the first hope anyone had seen in months. Still, the child's fear lingered. Some nights she woke with a gasp, insisting she'd heard someone crying. Other nights she pleaded to leave the room, though she couldn't explain why. Each time, Elise held her until her trembling eased. One evening, as a cool breeze pressed against the windows and the house settled into its nighttime hush, Clara whispered into the dimness, "She was here again." Elise lifted her head. "Who, sweetheart?" "The girl," Clara murmured. "Under my bed." A pause hung gently in the air. Elise didn't dismiss it. She didn't call it imagination or a dream. Instead, she smoothed Clara's hair, letting the silence say she was listening. When Clara finally slept, Elise rose from the bedside and knelt on the ornate rug. The room carried the faint scent of lavender and old wood, and the shadows beneath the bed seemed deeper than they should have been. Her fingers curled around the edge of the blanket. She lifted it slowly. Warm lamplight stretched into the darkness, catching on something wooden. A small trunk. Its leather straps were worn, and the brass lock had dulled with age. Elise drew it out carefully, the floorboards creaking softly beneath her weight. As she opened it, a faint smell of cedar and something floral escaped, frozen memories thawing. Inside lay a framed photograph of a teenage girl with solemn eyes and a gentle smile. The resemblance to Clara was unmistakable. Beside the frame rested a dried black rose, a child's bracelet, and a music box with a tiny crack along its lid. Elise's breath stilled. She had heard Clara's parents mention a loss once spoken in fractured pieces, never directly, always drifting away before a full truth could be shaped. A daughter older than Clara. A tragedy sealed behind closed doors and hurried footsteps. But Clara had known. In her own quiet way, she had carried a grief she never truly understood, a grief heavy enough to make her sick. The next morning, Elise brought the trunk downstairs. Mr. Harrowby froze when he saw it, his hand instinctively covering his mouth. Mrs. Harrowby's eyes blurred with tears before she even reached for the photograph. "We hid everything," she whispered. "We thought it would protect her." Elise said nothing. She simply waited. Later, they entered Clara's room together. The little girl sat propped against her pillows, her eyes flicking anxiously toward the trunk in Elise's hands. "Is she really gone?" Clara asked softly. Her mother knelt beside her, voice trembling but full of tenderness. "Yes, my love. Your sister, she passed before you were old enough to remember." We didn't want your world to be filled with sorrow, so we hid our own. But you felt it anyway, didn't you? Clara nodded, a single tear slipping down her cheek. Her father sat on the other side of the bed. You're not alone anymore. We'll talk about her. We'll remember her together. The music box clicked open, releasing a fragile melody, thin but sweet, like a memory learning to breathe again. Clara leaned into her mother, shoulders shaking, but for the first time, it wasn't from fear. It was release. Over the weeks that followed, the house softened. Laughter began returning in small, careful pieces. Photographs found their way onto shelves. Stories were shared at breakfast. Clara grew stronger, as though the weight she carried had finally lifted from her small heart, and Elise, standing quietly by the doorway, saw the truth settle around the family like warm sunlight. Sickness had not lived in Clara's body. It had lived in their silence. And healing began the moment someone dared to look beneath the bed into the places where grief had been hidden, waiting for love to find it again. If this story touched your heart and moved you in any way, please like the video, comment, share it with someone who need a little hope today, and make sure you subscribe to Humanity Diaries. Your support help us continue emotional and meaningful stories to the world. Please comment below which part of story touched you the most.